And now we're moving into our special session. Now, this is our interview session. And today, we bring to you a really interesting topic. And we're talking about building a solid digital brand. We have here a guest with us to actually do justice to this topic. He's a branding expert by the name Mr. Tunde Foster. And Mr. Tunde Foster is also known as the brand doctor. He's the founder and CEO of Foster, a branding and digital advertising agency here in Nigeria, a graduate of management accounting at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. Tunde Foster is a LEAP Africa Award recipient and consults for SMEs and large corporations. Welcome, Mr. Tunde Foster, to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go right into it. We're talking about building a solid digital brand.
Right.
And first of all, establish this for us. What is a digital brand?
Well, a digital brand, I would say, is a representation of your brand online in the digital space.
Okay.
So basically, you want to ensure that you are recognizable and different in the digital space. There's going to be a lot of brands, there's going to be a lot of competition, there's going to be a lot of people that offer the same kind of service. So you want to ensure that you stand out and you have a recognizable identity out there. So basically, that's why.
Okay, so I know that most people use digital branding and digital brand interchangeably, but I want to believe that there's a thin line that differentiates digital branding from digital brand. So please differentiate for us.
Well, basically, a brand is the sort of the end product. Then the branding is a process. You know, so for you to have a branding, digital branding, you have to go through a particular process of arriving at your brand. So the process will involve all the activities that end up deciding how you decide to express yourself, color-wise, the kind of fonts you want to use, you know, the identity you want to use, and a lot of other things. You know, these days when you go on social media, you have a header. What do you put there? What is your payoff line like? You know, all this form your brand. You get my point. So when you have carefully thought through all this and you're done with them, we now say you have a digital brand, a brand that expresses itself online. You know.
Well, what can you say is, you know, all are the attributes of having a good brand, basically, either digital or not. What would you say are the basics of, okay, this is, you just see it and this is a good brand? Right.
So the branding starts first of all with an ideology, a psychology. Now, the branding believes that your product is not your product. It's your ideology. For example, you're not just selling shoes. You're selling either comfort or class or, you get my point? So so that thing you're selling beyond the product is your brand. That's the idea you're selling to people's mind. For example, there are some kind of phones you use, and then there are some kind of phones you use. And we all know the reason why you buy the other types of phone and why you buy the other types. Some can be for function, some can be for, you know, accessibility, luxury, you know, so that when you are in some kind of setting, you can bring it out with ease. And so that's a brand speaking beyond what the phone can do.
So let me clarify this. Pardon me. You're saying that it's not about the product itself that you're giving out. That's not the brand. It's the intent behind the product.
I'm telling you, that's the ideology behind the product is the real branding. So that your logo, your colors, everything begin to reflect that. Your payoff line begin to reflect that. That's why if you're selling phones, your payoff line may just not be phones are ours or phones are here. You know, you begin to see something like, you know, maybe think different.
Comfort and style.
So when you say think different, when you're selling clothes and you use a payoff line that says because you need to make the, you know, the right statement. You know, so I am expecting when I come, it should not be the regular. I know that whatever I wear here, I should be able to take it in the wrong way or something. So that's the brand. That's what stands you out in the market.
I heard you mention colors and payoff lines and fonts. And how important are these things? I mean, I could as well just put a P and an A and say that's my brand. So why is this so important? And is it that there are specific colors and fonts that should be used for specific industries to make the brand come out, or does it depend on personal choices? Like, say, for instance, my favorite color is blue, for instance. Should I just paint the entire place blue? Because that's my brand. I mean, let's
so it's deeper than that, but it's a combination of the two. The truth is that there's something that works with what your favorite color is about, because branding is both the ideology of the person that is bringing this product to life, and also the people you're trying to reach. Now, color-wise, there are meanings and emotions to colors. For example, a bright color like this, you know, inspires some things, whether you know it or not. Subconsciously, you don't have to know whether it's having any effect on you. The only way you know it's having effect on you is if you turn everywhere black and automatically turn everywhere neon green. You know, there's something, when anybody comes in,
there's a feeling they get.
So because of that, based on your industry, there are some colors that are applicable. I can give maybe food industry. You see, most people that have quick service restaurants tend to use bright colors because you want people to be in a light mood, and then you want to increase their taste so that they can order more. All these things matter. You get my point now? You know, but like I said, at the end of the day, it also has to align with your ideology, and that's why you see sometimes you can see some banks have some really regular colors. But some banks these days, I want to appeal to Generation Z, just come up with some, you know, the front of the bank is like you're wondering, is this a fashion store or something? They're trying to make a statement. Remember, again, the ideology behind it, trying to say we are bank, but hey, guess what? We are also
fun.
Yeah, we're also fun. So,
okay.
Right, that's what
you bring back that question again. Now, you've mentioned text, colors, the payoff line,
yes.
The brand psychology behind it.
Right.
Now, would you say these are the attributes, the features of a solid digital brand? Or if not, what are the actual features that, you know, make you figure that this is a solid digital brand that is sustainable?
Okay. What you said are, but let me add more to it.
Okay.
So to have a solid digital brand, first of all, you have to have a name. We all know you have to have a name. And your name should not be, should not be too long for us to pronounce, and then it should reflect the kind of image you're trying to project. You need to have colors that represent who you are. You know, we need to know, whenever I see blue, I need to know that your shade of blue, do you get my point? And the combination. You need to have fonts that also accentuate that. Do you get my point? Some fonts are just straight. Some fonts are italics. Some fonts are, in between. Some fonts are like Old English. You know, all these things matter to people when they are seeing what you have. You need to have a payoff line. We need to know what you are about beyond the product. What you're about. And everybody has that, believe me. That's the reason why you start your business.
Yes.
Your business wasn't existent before. Why do you start your own? Maybe you just ate the way the finishing is like, and then you're just very that. So we need to know that thing. So a brand expert can help you carve it into something very nice. And then you need to have a tone of voice. Your tone of voice is important. So that's the way you express yourself. You're on social media. How do you say what you say? You can say I'm happy in 10 different ways. You can say I'm happy. You can say it in a slang like a Generation Z person. You can say it just not talking, but just, demonstrating it. So there has to be a tone. There has to be, so that anytime I hear that, I know this is. That's why. So at the end of the day, when you are consistent with those things for a while, you become a brand that people can reckon with. That's why something becomes a brand when you can say, this is not an, this is not, something can never produce this. Now, you know that that's a brand.
You've created your identity.
Exactly.
Okay, so now, with those things you've outlined, what are the strategies for arriving at that digital brand, creating that identity? Because, I mean, it would take you understanding certain things, or it would take a process, putting certain things in place, arrive at that solid digital brand through, with those features you have mentioned. So what are the strategies to getting there? Okay, so
there's something in branding we call the core idea, why you're existent. I said it before. So like I said, so you have been looking at clothes, and then you are just angry about finishing, and you think that is you can't just stand it. This is what will differentiate you. You may think that's your unique selling proposition, because somebody else can also start it tomorrow. But now you can carve that around some sort of excellence or perfection. You know what I'm saying now? So now when your core idea is about excellence or perfection, that now extends to how your name should be like. You get what I'm saying? I expect your font not to be playful. If that's it. I expect your font to be, very nice, not too straight, not too cursive, but classy. Do you get what I'm saying now? If you have like a black background and you have a white text on it, that's just simple. You have a lot of space. You're saying, look, we don't play around and just mess things up. We are very, So now that ideology, you extend it. You make sure that every single thing, your font, your colors, your everything is reflecting that back. So if I just look at it, I'm like, wow, there's something excellent about this. That's branding. Branding is like Okay, advertising is saying, so that an average person can understand. Advertising is saying, like a conversation between a guy and a girl, I'm a great lover, I'm a great lover, I'm a great lover, I'm a great lover. That's advertising.
Okay.
All right?
Branding is
so
showing
PR is she telling you that he's a great lover. That guy is a great lover. You're like, but branding is you just look at me and say, the way you look, I think you're a great lover.
So it's about embodying it.
Exactly,
it.
it's about showing it. Before the person will speak, you just like it.
Okay, so as a brand that is on the journey to building a solid brand identity, when is it okay to redefine or remake your brand? Like you want to change colors, you want to change fonts. When is it right for you to do that?
Right. Usually, brand gets old. So sometimes when it's right is when you start seeing that you need to refresh. I mean, sometimes it's not really about, it's not black and white. You can see it. I'll give an example. There was a time there was a 20-year challenge or 10-year challenge on social media and all that. And I did a social media post and said, you see, just like people, brands have to evolve. You just look at it. You just look at yourself 10 years ago, you're like, no, nobody should see this picture. You know, that kind of thing. When you start seeing your fonts getting old, people can relate with it. You know, there's a way people flow, and you want to make sure that you are fresh. You keep appealing to new sets of people. So then, I mean, you just do a little refresh. You may not change totally, like, you know, we can't even recognize you again. There are a lot of reasons why that is, but that's one reason why. The second reason why is because you may be changing your brand identity, what the brand stands for entirely. Maybe you just want to redefine. Maybe there's a merger. You know, something. There's a company and another company. There's a merger. You know, you need a new identity to define who we are now, where we are going. You have a fresh vision, and then you just want to change that. So that's another reason why people change. And another reason why you change, of course, without pushing that too long is if you change your name or something. You add a new product line, you're changing totally. For example, some brands started selling wood and they finally went on selling phones. You see, something has to change. They can't keep showing themselves as a wood brand, you know, while they are now selling phones.
You know, but is there like a timeline to it? Because I've heard some people say that as a brand, because you're trying to let your audience, you want to let them identify with you, to know you, to get familiar. And so you have to wait like probably 6 months before you can change anything that needs to change about your brand. Or wait a year before you change anything. So is that what...
It's correct, and I even think 6 months is small. It's too small. You know, when you have a brand, because you know you have to, it's a sensitive thing, and you want to be very careful. You know, whatever brand you have, we call it brand assets. Your name is an asset. The way your logo looks like it's an asset, and you don't want to believe that everybody out there take their time to process. So people are sensory. Once they just see your logo and a star, they just know that's you. So if you change that after 6 months, they're like, where is this thing again? They are seeing it there, but they're like, I can't find it again. So you want to be careful. It's not something people should change every 6 months or 1 year. I think sometimes 5, 10 years. True, if you really want to, because you need to maintain something. And that's why consistency is very key. And that's why even if you have to change, you have to go through a rigorous process to inform your customers, all stakeholders. First of all, your staff and board members, your customers, the entire world.
The change of name.
You have to really make it grand so that they can see, oh, you were like this before and now this is you. Because people can just say, this is the fake one. No, this is not the one I used to know. And those are very important. You can lose key businesses if you just do things anyhow.
So. Now, talking about being trendy and keeping up with trends, is it okay for brands? You know how, for instance, there are some brands that are very serious. You know that this is a very tailored brand. And then there's a funny challenge going on social media, and you see them jump on it. Now, some brand experts have claimed that it's not very healthy for very serious brands to jump on trends like that, because it might just derail you, and people will be like, okay, what exactly are you
about?
But there are some other digital experts that will say, well, why not? Because it is a digital trend. It is also in the digital space. People would even know you more because that trend, for example, the 10-year challenge, or, I don't know, movies, a new movie that is a blockbuster and everybody's on it. But the question now is this: what's your own standpoint for that? Is it okay? Is there a balance? Is there a way to strike the balance for your brand and jumping on trends?
All right. So, see, there's something you cannot. I'm trying to look for the right word. There's something called a trend and culture. Trends are short things that happen and go. Culture, takes a longer time. There's no one can actually stand against the digital trend.
Okay.
It's like a culture now. People grow up into it. They are part of it. They just press their iPad and stuff. So while it may not be okay for some brands to, jump on trend and things like that, they are not going to have a choice in the next 10 years or 5 years because the digital space is going to become the de facto space. So if you are alive there, you are alive. If you are not alive there, we can as well think you are dead. So like I said, you just have to balance it. But the social space is the space. And anybody that fights against that, you're practically just fighting against where your customers in the next 10 years will be. They will not know, some people may not know how to write again. Very soon.
Yeah, that's also balancing it. Would it be right to say it will be determined by your core, your intent, your ideology? Okay.
Exactly. So now, that's how you now sift what you jump on. So some things are appropriate, some things are not appropriate based on who we are, the kind of person we are. Do you get my point? So our ideology, based on that, when the people that are handling your digital channels or platforms know about that, they must have been trained in that. They know that, okay, this is an area you don't go to. This is an area, yes, you go to. So that determines which one you pick up.
Because you're talking about who we are. Now, the question is, what is your take on people as digital brands? Can a person be a brand, a digital brand? And how advantageous is that?
There are a lot of individuals that are digital brands out there, and we refer to a lot of them as influencers on social media. Now, because most times influencers they define themselves by something and they stick with it. As against regular people, if you look at them, as against regular people that just post anything, thinking of something, you post it, you just post things at random because, hey, this is just a place to express myself. They are more intentional about what they churn out there. Do you get my point? So if it's a video skit, maybe it's a 1-minute skit in a particular direction, different types of something or something, you see that all the time. So automatically they are almost becoming like a channel. So you're attributing them to something. Okay. So they are, in a way, they're already a brand because you can say this is who this person is. This is not who this person is. And before you know it, they start standing out that way. So yeah, definitely, humans can be digital brands. We need to know what you are about beyond the product.